This was the day before I was supposed to direct the day across Minnesota. Like, nobody knows this, but I was in the ER for 4 or 5 hours getting heart rate, or like my heart checked out.
Yeah, I was at the Mahahe about ready to start, and you sent me pictures of you all strapped up to a machine.
Yeah. Like, it's not a story of like.
It's not funny. I'm not laughing because I'm like, oh, it is funny. It's more like the awkwardness of like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? My name is JP, and I want to welcome you into the Stable Cyclist Podcast, where we talk about bikes, life experiences, and when the time comes, we will always dive deep into mental health. And I want to thank you for tuning in last week. We had a huge episode with Dylan Johnson, and where we talked about all kinds of things, including a pretty deep dive on mental health. It was actually the most commented episode ever that we've had of the podcast, and it is chugging along on its way to being one of the most viewed and downloaded episodes ever as well. And that's all because of you. And I want to also thank you for chiming in with your comments. We're trying to build the community better this year. One of the ways we're doing that is that I'm asking you a question every week. And last week the question was, what is an adventure you are excited for in 2026? And we had tons of answers. I pulled some of them here. TyTy22_ said the Traka 360. D Oak said race across Duluth and the Epic Bike Fest in Cable, Wisconsin. Ithaca Dawn said he is a 71-year-old dude and already signed up for the Mohican 100K. Two Wheel Love said he is planning for Gravel Worlds 150. Barrows Worm said SBT Gravel and happy to have the downtown start returning. Kenneth Bickford said Vermont Overland. Fifth Circle 1 said he's excited this year to be coaching junior mountain bikers, and he's registering for Gravel Worlds 150. And he also has on his list that he is hoping to meet Backwards Hat Dylan at some point in the year. Trout Hunter, I have known him through the Mahahe. He is attempting a KOM, an age group KOM at the White Rim in April. He's also going to do Ride Across Arizona in May, and he said if I'm still alive, he's going to try to do the Tour Divide. Go get him, dude. I know you can do it. Salsa Amigos said he's looking forward to Gravel Worlds and the Solstice 100. Jacob Kluber, who I met at the Mahahe this year, said he is going to go back with more experience and a different outlook. And then over on Instagram, I got messages from Coach Ernie saying he did Unbound 100 last year and he's headed back this year. And then CD to Fit is doing the Gravel Worlds 300. And these are important. These are all people within our community, a growing community here on the Stable Cyclist. These aren't just stories about pros, but this is where a group of people gather and find connection and hope in what we're doing. And so I enjoy these. Now, my question for you this week, it is one of our random fire questions that you'll hear me ask my guest, Chase Wark, today. And Chase's answer is very similar to my answer, so you'll have to wait to hear that in the interview. But my answer is this: are you into solo rides or group rides? Just leave a comment below, solo or group. I'm excited in this one to kind of calculate where our listenership is going. And before we get into the full conversation with Chase, let's hear from this week's sponsor. This episode of the Stable Cyclist Podcast is brought to you by Silca. Whether it was the gravel roads throughout the Midwest this past year or the absolutely epic and rugged conditions of the Mahahe 100 this summer, I never had an issue with my chain when I was using Silca's hot wax or super secret chain wax, or in the absolute worst of conditions, the Synergetic Wet Lube. Pair that with the fact that I have not had a flat tire in 3 years while using the Silca tire sealant. And you put all that together, and it sounds like it's probably time that you head over to silca.cc to get some goodies to take care of your bike. As one of my good friends, Carrie, says, it is nutrition for your bike. You can use the code TheStableCyclistPod at checkout for 15% off your order, or you can hit the link in the description, whether you're listening or watching on YouTube. Oh, and I forgot to even mention, they do make literally the best bike pump in the world. All right, enough of all that. Let's get Chase Wark into the hot seat. Well, Chase Wark, we are in your pain cave. I see you've got these bodybuilding mirrors behind us. I have heard rumors that you are lifting weights. Is this so you can see your beefy muscles a little better?
Yeah, we have it angled down so I can get a good view of my glute muscles that I'm working on. They're getting even bigger, if you can believe that. Have a new strength coach, Art O'Connor, who's been making me stronger. So hopefully I can lift some podium trophies this year.
Well, we're going to get into all that as we dive in. We are here, for those wanting context of when this is. This is the end of December. We're here filming this weekend for a bunch of stuff as we start to work again this year in a much bigger capacity. But I want to talk through kind of the wild ride that was Unbound through the end of the season for you this past year. Mega Mid-South, obviously a huge star on the 2025 map for you. But people can go listen. There's a whole podcast in the library with you and Ted King talking about that. And so I want to start at Unbound. It was kind of a tough day. There is a full episode of Off the Front that people can go watch. But take us just through some key takeaways or key memories that you have of that day, or maybe even the whole week.
Yeah, I would start off with Thursday and Friday, the expo. I'm kind of known as the bike setup person, I feel like there was several cycling magazines who we pre-scheduled a bike check because they just know I'm gonna show up with something wacky. So which is a good thing. I look at that as a good thing. My bike was pictured front page on several news websites or cycling news websites, and around the expo. With that, I probably spent way too much time at each day, 3 to 4 hours at least, Thursday and Friday. Got to interact with a lot of people. And as not only a bike racer, but just as a privateer, where my job is to connect with people, I looked at that as a super, it was already successful, the Unbound weekend, before the bike race happened. And maybe I went into the race a little too confident that, sure, I'm tired from the expo, but I can still crack a really good result. And I just underestimated how much stress was building up between the travel to Unbound,
Sure,
the expos. Leading into Unbound, I did an Instagram reel for each day of training. So it's only 1 minute of content, but it takes 30 to 60 minutes to edit, plus our son, me and Abigail's son, he was just a month and a half at that point. So learning how to be a parent at that time. And then, went into the race super tired, and I wanted to be in that early breakaway again, but so did 40 to 50 other people, it felt like, this year.
Yeah.
So I went out, the training I don't think was that good going into it, looking back at that now. And then, just went way too hard at the start, looking at my power on Training Peaks. And then, first 2 hours just blew up.
Yeah.
For anyone that knows, training metrics, my intensity factor was almost a 1.0. For 2 hours.
Oh, that's amazing.
So,
I had not heard that yet.
Yeah, it was 0.93 or 0.97. So not one, but a number that it should not
full
be.
XCO mountain biking. Yeah.
Bridging to the front of the race with Tim DeClerc, it was not a good decision.
Sure.
And then, went out too hard, ran out of gas, blew up, called, I don't know if it was you or my mom.
You called your mom.
And said, I'm dropped. Once I got dropped, it was I came here to get a good result. There's 50 people in front of me. I have 100 miles left to go. Why? Not only physically, I know I can bike 200 miles,
Right.
even if I'm cracked.
Right.
Like, I'll get to the next aid station, drink some Coke or what, Good Life. I'll make it. But for me, it was more of a mental struggle.
Yeah.
So, and that's where, like, what made me want to pull up was, like, I will put myself in, like, I was already in a hole, and I would have just, like, I don't want to know where I would have gone if that would have happened. So, called my mom. She comes and picks me up with JP. Mental breakdown when they pick me up. Maybe not mental breakdown. Just a cry and a hug.
You had a good cry.
Yeah. And then, went to the aid station. And honestly, like, this was a highlight of my day. Going to the aid station, watching Drew come by, and then helping Joe Gettle, like, with his aid stop, and then standing at the finish line and hanging out with people. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
No, it was I think a tremendous learning experience. We'll talk about that later in the interview, but you kind of moved away from there, and it was very unclear of, like, where is this all going to go? Mm-hmm. And you kind of moved through June and into July. You had a big result at Lutzen that I think, like, really pumped you up with confidence, and then you kind of worked through the North Dakota, like, secret gravel mafia scene.
Oil money.
Could be. But you had some success there. You had just a banger of a race with Adam Roberge and Nepomuk, and you get to Gravel Worlds. And again, it's a field. It's not quite like Unbound, but there's so much money on the line at Gravel Worlds that it draws this gigantic field. It draws the best in the sport. And that day played out for in a totally different way. And so I felt like going in, and this is my observation from the outside, and the other guests don't get this, like, where I've, like, ridden in a car with you for, like, days and days over the summer. And, you know, we've had these really deep conversations, so I get, like, this inside baseball view. But I felt still going into Gravel Worlds, you were really unsure of, can I have a big result in a race this size? Mm-hmm. And at some point in the middle of that race, something clicked. And I kind of want to hear, how did the confidence, if it's like, did the glasses get put on or the veil come off, or, like, you all of a sudden were like, oh, like, no, I can compete up here. Tell us about that day from that point of view of just, like, you really regained a ton of confidence that day.
Yeah, I guess, like, I went into that being like, my season's almost done, like, from a race results perspective. So I was like, I just need to do what I did at Unbound, crush the expo. Who cares about the race? And I felt like crush the expo. We didn't spend as much time. I think you and I, well, you, like, I don't want to say you were pushy, but there was always, like, a nudge of, like, we need to go. Yeah. Like, you're more than just a personality. Like, you also are a bike racer. So
we do joke a lot that at especially bigger races, I have kind of turned into, like, a manager role almost of, like, all right, let's go, which I do feel bad at people who are trying to talk to you about. But ultimately, at some point, you have a job to do that's not just being the PR man for all these brands. So, sorry, go ahead.
So, yeah, I went into the race. Normally, I always want to get in the early breakaway just because I don't have the biggest self-belief in myself. But this race, I was like, let's just try something different. I'm just going to sit in as long as I can and see and try to make selection after selection. I have a road cycling background, so I can kind of position myself better. I knew there was minimum maintenance roads that could be decisive. I didn't know they would be muddy, though. So start the race, sitting in. Everyone's trying to go in the early breakaway again. Felt like Unbound, like, super fast.
And it's pitch black. Unbound, at least the sun has come up as you start.
Yeah.
It is dark for at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And half the people have lights, half the people don't have lights. I may be in the latter half, not having the lights. You know, no aero bars and no lights. Like, no. So then I flat 10 miles in, and I'm like, well, this sucks. Like, we're going so fast for the first 10 miles. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be catching back on. I don't care. Like, I'm going to have to go so hard because I was going pretty hard in the pack. And quickly fixed, it just needed air and it sealed. Like, I was lucky enough that it was a slow leak. And then, filled it back up. It was the disc wheel, so a little harder to fill up. I may have littered. There may be a piece of duct tape that I had to dispose of. But And then I was like, you know what? Just going to keep this a steady time trial. Caught back on right in the first mud section. So I got to watch all of that explode. And then just something about me loves when chaos is happening. And I was like, I got this now. Like, whatever. I'm a good mud racer. Like, I don't care how high FTP is not going to fix if you can ride the mud or not. So, caught back on. Needed a little help from Matt Beers to get to the front. But we made it, and then we hit another mud section. And then I went off the front after that. Kind of as, like, TV time, but also hoping for, like, okay, my legs feel good today. Like, I just chased back onto a flying field. And then, rode with the group for 80 miles. I think I was overconfident then because I was going, like, I don't want to say pole for pole, but I wasn't sitting on the back with,
You mentioned that after the race. You just said, I should have taken a page out of Robert's book and sat in the back with him.
Yeah.
Given who else was in the field.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think you were stoked to just be there.
Yeah. And then popped a mile 80. But, Drew and I just kept riding and ended up Drew getting 9th and me getting 10th. Like, never mentally giving up.
Yeah.
Even after the flat.
Yeah. A question that didn't come up in the... And again, you can watch a whole episode on this on Chase's channel. I'll have everything linked in the description. But you were at mile 80, you got popped. Mm-hmm. And initially it was you and Drew and Nathan Spratt and Michael Garrison, who is a character in and of himself, who I'd love to chat with someday. But you had Nathan Spratt on, and that guy is like... He's like a Muppet level character with his brother. The wildest episode of the podcast I've ever hosted was with him and his brother. What is that though? So you've got you and Drew and Nathan, who are 3 pretty crazy guys. What is that break with like though? As you're like, you're in it for the money at the end there, and one of us is not gonna make it.
I think we went from let's see if we can catch back on to like, okay, we're in a good rhythm. We're not catching them, but, like, let's do our turns. And, there was a few jokes cracked here and there. And at one point, Drew was pushing this guy on, like, a pink fixie bike up a hill. And so we're trying to go serious for the most part, but, again, trying to have, like...
Yeah.
I don't know, keeping each other, like, lifted spirits.
Yeah.
And then... I think with like 10, 15 miles left, I feel like 10 miles left, it started to get pretty silent. We're also just suffering.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
you're 140 miles in.
Yeah, we're 140 miles in. And I don't know. I've never asked what Nathan was thinking at like the time of, that. But Drew and I both coming from a road background, we don't even like really have to be like, okay, let's plan something.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I don't know if it was me or him, but it was like, I think it was me. I was like, Drew, you need to just go, and I'm going to sprint. Mm-hmm. And there was no, like, we, like, knew that a plan had to happen. And, we just kept rotating pretty silent for a bit. And then he went, and then Nathan didn't, like, respond. And, we rolled in, and I out-sprinted Nathan. And
top 10.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know. That suffering is always fun with good people.
Yeah, so. For sure. So you really get some confidence back in that race. But I remember conversations very shortly after that you were just like, I'm done with the season. I am tired of this. Like, maybe not burned out is the right word, but you were kind of checked out, but you knew that gravel nats was coming literally in your backyard.
Yeah.
And you had at points been involved with even how the course was being set up. You were involved with filming the preview with Ben Delaney. And so you kind of had like, this is a have to. This is not like I can skip this one because I feel terrible. It's a have to. And you go out on the day and you end up in a break, I think, with Michael Garrison again.
Yeah.
And a couple other guys. And again, what's going through your head as the race is playing out, and you're like, I think I can win this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a position to win the national championship, and I had like this season kind of feels like it's been very like meh.
Yeah. Okay, I went into this race with no confidence. I just came back from Iceland, which had a all-you-could-eat buffet before and after the race. I've probably mentioned this somewhere, but the course is really hilly here. So there was like 8 or 9 bluff climbs, which get up to maybe like 10% on some of them. And I cannot climb. Like, yeah, I guess, maybe next year I'll be able to. But
is it like 8 to 9 minute climbs?
Like 5 minute climbs.
5 minute climbs?
3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
By the time, knowing like, if you went, 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I weighed myself the night before, and I weighed 170 pounds, and I knew my FTP was around 340 to 350 on like a really good day. So I went in like, the math does not like calculate. Like, I don't care how, I knew the course like the back of my hand, but a hill's a hill. And I was just like, Drew, I'm going to go into the break, essentially like suicide break in my head. Yeah. And I'll get some TV time, except for it's U.S. Nationals, so there's zero coverage whatsoever. Yeah, and Drew was cooking at this time. Like, so I was like, Drew, I think, has a really good shot to like win this or take second to Alexi, and which Alexi didn't end up winning. But I was like, Drew, I'm pretty confident Drew can do well. So I like,
Drew was pretty confident too on Bonk Bros.
Yeah, I get into the break, and I like first break goes very strong. I'm like, this is probably gonna be chased down. See like Alexi chasing us. I'm like, okay, whatever. This is not gonna go. And then this rolls out on a highway. We all sit up for a bit, and then I see Drew was at the front. I'm like, screw it. And this was like a mile or two of like soft pedaling. I'm like, well, someone's got to start the break, so I might as well. And I feel like I'm kind of known as the breakaway guy. So like, oh, he's going, like, okay, all the other breakaway people go. So I go, 5 other people or 6 other people come, and I'm like, yeah, this is like a pretty strong group. We had a Project Echelon guy, which was really important because team tactics like were decisive in this race. But then I see Michael Garrison coming, and I'm like, okay, now we like really have some horsepower. And so we go, and at mile like 30, I jokingly told Michael, I'm like, you're gonna have a sick national champs kit if you win. And like, because he does have I just love what Michael is doing, and I'm like, he's gonna make a sick kit. I just know it. And if I wasn't gonna win, I really wanted Michael to win from the breakaway. So we go, mile 40 ticks out, 50, 60, around mile like 65, there were still 6 of us, but 3 of them crash. And one of them was like Sam Boardman, who was probably the strongest guy in the break, and he was bluffing, I think, the whole time. And I'm like, it's like, crashing is a part of bike racing. I'm just like, okay, like, weird way to have the favorite of the break go. And then it's just 3 of us. We're getting gaps. I'm like, oh, like, we only have 2 more climbs left after like where we were at. And then we catch this. Oh, we go down. We catch the junior field, pass them, and then some Bear Devo kid tried like drafting off of us and had the whole field like strung out behind us. And I'm like, I'm not this is against the rules, but like the moto's got to call them out. Like they're kids. They're not going to listen to us. And I'm like, this also helps because there's an MMR road that's like single file. And if anyone's chasing us, those kids are just going to clog it up. So luckily moto lets us get a gap. We go into the thing. First climb done. No one caught us. Down at like Apple Orchard. Make it to the top of the climb. I'm like, holy crap. Like, we're almost there. It's all downhill. Yeah. And my confidence was pretty high. And then, it was, I don't know. I got 5th at the end. Sure. I think I really messed up the finish because there was like a really steep climb. Yeah. I used all my watts to sprint into it, but I like regained a whole bunch of confidence, maybe, I guess, after that race. But I was also pretty burnt out for the season, so.
Well, I think one thing you didn't mention, like all year you rode this kind of like Frankenbike at everything with all of its gadgets and like things that won you, in the gravel stacks most interesting bike setup. Like today you just got given that award, right? Mm-hmm. You ran like a very stock climbing bike for Nats, which is so uncharacteristic, and you come in super heavy for you, and
my mechanic slept in. Yeah, so I didn't have a guy at feed zone 2.
So there was a lot of things that were like not kind of out of the ordinary, but like very out of your realm, and you still had a really, really good day. Mm-hmm. And I just remember talking to you afterwards, and you were just so excited that like I did everything wrong today, and it still went well, what? So, like that was. I felt like that kind of breathed life into you.
Yeah, because I kind of thought Gravel Worlds was. Part of me thought it was like, I got 10th, but I was also like, it was a muddy race. Yeah, that took half the field out right away. Yeah, where Gravel Nats was. At the end of the day, the strongest person won the bike race. Yeah,
for sure. No, and that's exactly it. Is I got the sense in talking to you after Gravel Worlds that like, well, if that 2-mile section where I broke away wasn't there, I don't know how that race plays out. And it's like, well, okay, but this was like a very clean look at everything at Gravel Nats, and you end up in a really good spot. So I want to talk about one conversation that you and I had, just because, again, like we have the ability here to kind of play inside baseball. And after Unbound, your family, we went out to eat, really nice Mexican restaurant in Emporia. My camera guy was there as well as Drew was there, and your mechanic. Like it was a whole crew. It was a whole Wark crew. Like everybody's staying in that. The All Red crew was there. So. And you and I walked back afterwards, and we had a very long discussion about coaching and like how you said, I don't think my workouts were right coming into Unbound and all this. And I want to know, I don't think that was a definitive conversation that made you switch coaches, but very soon after that, you texted me and said, I'm going to start working with this other guy. So I want to kind of hear what went through your head as far as like why you needed to switch or stop doing your own thing or get a new coach, and then talk a little bit about who you're working with if you want to do that, and why you're always talking a lot differently and a lot with more confidence about your training now than you were before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had that conversation, and then because I was doing the daily reels leading up to Unbound, and my Strava's public, so I was getting other people being like, I don't know if you're like doing this right. And I'm like, well, I'm just riding a crap ton of zone 2, like, and doing intervals, like, how am I not doing this right? And then conversation with you, messages, and then I got a text message, and I didn't know where to go, I guess, was the big thing. Like, you see all these podcast interviews with like world tour coaches, right? But I'm not going to reach out to those people and be like, hey, will you coach me so I can win my little gravel race in the United States? Like, they're just going to tell me to buzz off. They're trying to win the Tour de France. Yeah. So, and I had someone, Pat Lemieux, former Minnesota legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reach out, and he's like, kind of same thing. Like, hey, like, don't know, like, who's your coach or like whatever. I'm like, I coach myself. He's like, well, I have a friend who does coaching, and so we had a phone call, and I like really trust Pat. Like, I've met him like only a handful of times in person, or like, I don't know. He's always been someone like I trust. And then, he introduced me to his friend Chad Hartley, who I knew used to run Adapt, a Devo team out of Wisconsin that had really good success. And I was like, you know what? I already kind of threw the towel in for the season. Like, having a coach, like, put my workouts up and, like, isn't going to hurt me. Like, what's the worst that can happen? So, phone call with him to, like, get to know each other, and then we start working together. And the nice thing was, the thing that helps me the most with Chad is, one, my zone 2 workouts look way different now. I'm riding at the top of zone 2 instead of like, I used to go every ride, okay, let's just ride 200 watts or 210 watts. I was never pushing it. Like, even if my FTP was going up, my zone 2 rides, I was just kind of stayed the same, where now we're kind of going off of heart rate and FTP for my zone 2, but like, it's like pushing the limit, and I'm seeing growth in what I can sustain in that. And like, that's what you're riding in for a lot of these gravel races. And then also having phone calls with him all the time and being able to recap and
just accountability.
Accountability.
Support.
And
beyond your
he was a
cameraman.
bike racer too. So like having someone who's like, he's been on like Teammates with Pete and everything. So like, we got to bond over that, and like, so Chad's been super helpful with helping me develop and get more confidence back into myself. And I wouldn't say I'm like still 100% confident in my abilities as a bike racer, but I think after this off season, and hopefully the early season goes well, like, I think if it goes well, I'll have more confidence.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing, you and I spent a ton of time, like I said, we spent a lot of time in vehicles together, especially driving across North Dakota multiple times. And we spent a ton of time talking about development of the younger generation and how, aside from a person or two, it's not really happening. And the genuine concern about like, well, what happens when all these people in the Grand Prix age out? And what happens when people like that are your age kind of age out of being pros? Like, where's the support for who's next? So I want to talk about what you and Lunchbox has kind of done with Drew for building out what is now a Devo team. And then I also want to hear a little bit about how the Lunchbox team has expanded from you and Drew to a couple other homies as well. But let's talk about the Devo team first. Like, I guess the main thing is, why is that so important to you to pour yourself back into these younger guys?
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of. I grew up in a small town, but I had a lot of support from a few select people, and I will always be grateful for that. And I've always wanted to give back. And like, one of my, I think I say it in the movie, or not movie, the film, but it's like I think it was Aaron. He was like, when you have the chance to, I'm supporting you right now, but when you have the chance to give back, like, give back. So now I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I'm able to give back. And I've always been trying to do that. So for the past 3 or 4 seasons now, I've been supporting Isaac, and that's kind of grown into helping coach his brother, Owen Allred, and then helping a few juniors here and there. And I'm always like open to questions and stuff. So, and then I brought up that I wanted it to be selfishly, I wanted it to be more public facing because I want people to see that if someone like me is able to give back, people who
make a lot more
money and have even more bigger brand connections.
Yeah.
I want to pressure them into I don't want, maybe pressure is not the right word. I want it to be
leverage it.
I want it to be like a standard that, I think everyone in the Grand Prix should almost be mentoring one or two kids, and not even mentoring, but also like helping them connect with brands and stuff. Yeah. Because I think you need to grow.
So what does that look like this year with you guys now saying like we have a Devo team? Like how many people are involved in it, and what does that for you? What does that kind of support look like?
Yeah, so we have Drew and I we have 4 riders on the Devo team, just with the money we were fundraising. That's kind of all we could support. So everyone's getting bikes, a good amount of financial support. They don't have to pay in. And then I think the biggest thing is we're mentoring them. We're having meetings. We've only had one so far. We're trying to get it a little bit more organized, but we're trying to mentor them on like, how can you become a privateer in the future? And if they want to go on to, a team instead of a privateer, how can you get the best out of that? Yeah. So just teaching them useful, the gravel privateer skills, I guess. And also we like helping them make connections while they're racing. And all of these people are like super grateful. We didn't look just at results, but like what were their future goals. So.
Sure. Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
So well, I was going to say like, that's something we talked a ton about. Like lots of long car rides. There's actually like 2 episodes of the series that really cover this. If you don't know about the series, there's a 5-episode series. We've got one more to make in this coming year, but it's on YouTube. It's called Off the Front. It follows a lot of Chase's story, like in a more cinematic way. And I'll link the whole series, like I said, in the description. But we spoke a ton about the Devo part because of the episodes and because of all that. One thing we did not talk about is that Lunchbox was going to expand on the pro team. Yeah. And so I want to hear how that came about and what kind of forced that, if you will, into happening.
Yeah, when Drew and I went to Iceland, we finished and then we were hanging out with Donna, who is the marketing manager at Lauf. And she was saying how they wanted to sign a few extra riders.
Sure.
And, obviously, like, there's some riders who we knew, like, okay, who's, like, down the list that's not a whole bunch of money to sign. And also that I think Drew and I could, like, add to the Lunchbox team. And, like, right away, I think Drew and I, like, we're both, like, Julian Gagne.
Sure.
And, like, so when we told Donna that, and then we're like, we'll talk to him, like, So we go and gravel's not clicky, but, there's the really fast people who don't want to, like, have anything to do with me and Drew. And I feel like Julian also kind of fell into that category. Okay. But Julian also...
That's because he's in the mafia.
Yeah, he's in the poutine mafia. And also, like, people don't want to have anything to do with, like, Adam Roberge. And, like, I love hanging out with Adam Roberge. Right. And I was like, Julian, like, we've made jokes in the Peloton, so it's like, I think he would be super fun. And Drew had, like, a whole weekend with him at BWR California. So, just through, like, contract negotiation, and we told Julian, like, we really want you on the team. Like, we will even financially support you to, like, get you onto the team. So, Julian got added onto the team, and then another rider. And also, Julian's, like, Julian won Core 4, which was a part of the Gravel Earth series. He's won Gravel Locos when all the Europeans were here right before Unbound. Like,
he can hit.
He crushed us at Gravel Worlds.
Yeah, he did not get dropped with you at Gravel Worlds.
He did not get dropped. So we're super excited to add Julian. And then we're also adding Henry Nelson. And that happened, or like we're adding Henry. The story of like that is Henry actually needed a spot to stay after Schwamigan. So
sure.
And between Schwamigan and Nationals, they were a week apart.
Yeah.
So I told him like, hey, we have a bed in our house. If you're fine with getting woken up from a crying baby every now and then.
It's probably the same bed I'm sleeping in this weekend.
No, it's like the one right there.
Okay.
And then just like chatting with him and last year in 2024 he cracked a top 10 at the Rad.
Okay.
So like
he can hit.
Hitter. Like
yeah.
No one cracks a top 10 at a like that's another race where like the strongest person wins. So it's like so we chatted with him cuz we had to drive to the Nationals course. So we had 30 minutes of driving each way and you know kind of getting more and more comfortable. We're asking him like what's your support been like with your other partners and I was like, dang, like I think this kid deserves more than like what he has.
Yeah.
From like he's like this close to cracking a crazy good result.
Yeah.
And I know you have to have the good result before you get partnerships, but it's like so I messaged Henry, I'm like, hey, like just want to put this out there, like Lauf is looking to add people, like you know, talked with Ashton, and Ashton Lambie is another the athlete person at Lauf. And he actually knew Henry because they both are from the Lawrence, Kansas area.
Yep.
And he was like, oh, I love Henry. Like so, after like some contract stuff, Henry's also on the team. So I feel like we've always, I like to think Lunchbox is kind of the underdog, like gravel team, and I feel like we added 2 underdogs or like I don't know people who are super strong and I think are gonna crack some really good results. And we have a 4-person team, which is bigger than I don't know, and we all come from a road backgrounds or like Henry raced collegiately road, so we have road tactic experience, which I think is gonna be really helpful. So.
In a year where the super gravel teams are coming in, you're a little ahead of the curve here, so that's good stuff.
I think Trainer Road Memes made our picture of me and Drew for Lunchbox was Dumb and Dumber, which I thought was pretty funny.
Fantastic. All right. Well, there's one more thing I want to talk about that's a little more serious before we get into the like off the rails part of things. But I don't remember when it was, but I remember the message and the urgency of it. You messaged me that you were having what you thought was AFIB starting to happen, and you were really concerned. I remember we talked on the phone about it quite a bit too. And people might be wondering why you were like, ahead of Gravel Worlds, you were like, I don't even want to do this. And I remember that morning, it's like 3 a.m. and we're all trying to eat breakfast and get ready, and you're like throwing your heart rate monitor on because you're wondering if you're having an episode like right then. And then that kind of continued through the fall. So like while all these big results were happening, you were also having like some health issues that were scary. Tell me more about that, like, and not the overshare version on a health situation, but just like the general what happened and where are we at kind of today?
So if anyone doesn't know, AFIB, the 5th grade version, is like your heart just beats really rapidly and you get shortness of breath doing the most mundane task ever. Walking up the stairs, you're at like 180.
Right.
Which, So a couple times, like...
Is it right after Nepomuk?
So actually, a couple of times during training, I would have to just randomly. And it was once like maybe a month, to not be like, is this a pattern? It was just kind of like randomness of
Sure.
my heart rate would just go crazy, and my heart rate would actually like stop reading on the heart rate monitor, and I'd have to stop for like 30 seconds or maybe a minute. Sometimes I would scroll Instagram reels and get lost, but and then I could keep biking, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like I must just have like cracked like really quickly riding high zone 2. Like I was also not familiar with the training, and it also happened before with like even lower zone 2 rides. So I was just like, am I like randomly just hitting a bonk super quick? So, and then one time I was down riding the trainer and it didn't go away. Like I should say it took 20 minutes to go away, to the point where I like just stopped my ride and went up and told Abigail, like, I'm done riding. Like my heart rate was crazy. And Abigail's a nurse, so she like gave me the heart rate monitor.
She gave you a listen?
Or she gave me the Apple Watch.
Okay.
And it said, and there's like a ECG thing on there, and it said I was in AFIB, and it like shortly went away after that. And then, so around, I think this was in June, then we knew, oh, I had AFIB one time randomly. And then it happened again in July, and we were about to go to the ER, but then it stopped. Because we just wanted it to get confirmed. Like an Apple Watch is an Apple Watch.
Right.
It's not a doctor.
Yeah.
So then, end up catching it, going to the ER. This was the day before I was supposed to direct the day across Minnesota. Like nobody knows this, but I was in the ER for 4 or 5 hours getting heart rate, or like my heart checked out.
Yeah, I was at the Matahay about ready to start, and you sent me pictures of you all strapped up to a machine.
Yeah. Like it's not a story of like.
It's not funny. I'm not laughing because I'm like, oh, it is funny. It's more like the awkwardness of like, what?
Yeah. So confirmed AFib, like, which was good. Like, okay, we got it. And then, it's a hospital in the U.S., so they're like, here's some pills to help mitigate your issue. It won't resolve it. So I had beta blockers.
Okay.
And I don't like taking stuff, so I was like, I'm just going to, like, screw this. So I was like, and it would affect my training, and the AFib wasn't happening a whole bunch. And then, it was just always in the back. It is always in the back of my head when I ride. So then go to Iceland. I'm pretty sure I had an episode the first day I was there. Luckily, we weren't racing then. And then I had something scheduled at the Mayo Clinic to just, like, get it more checked out, and hopefully, like, it's the Mayo Clinic. I'm like, they're going to solve everything for me.
Yeah.
And we went, and, like, I got hooked. I had a 24-hour heart rate monitor, and somehow, by luck, this sounds weird to say I was lucky, I had my AFib episode almost all day, like, hooked up, so they could also see, like, me stopping. And then, doctor told me I could get a procedure. I didn't understand how the procedure worked really well, so I turned it down. Abigail explained it to me in a very dumbed down version, and then now I'm on a wait list to get I forget what it's called. Ablation. Yeah. So I could have got it scheduled and probably done this year, but now I'm just on like a wait list, and with how insurance works in the U.S., I probably won't get the procedure done
next off season.
So like we hit our deductible for randomness. So now I have AFib. I have to race with the potential of having episodes of AFib. It seems to happen. This is really weird. It seems to happen either the last day of the month or the first or second day of each month. So I kind of know when it's going to happen. The bad thing is Onbound is like right around that time.
Sure, yeah.
But Abigail told me about a way to stop the AFIB once it starts. And this could be helpful for anyone with AFIB. I've actually told people with AFIB about this. It's called the bear down method. So Abigail told me about it. I was not listening, I guess, because then when I told her, I think it was in a car ride. But then when Walter Summers, he's the Garmin rep, I was like chatting with him at Big Sugar, why I wasn't racing, blah, blah, blah. And he told me about the bear down method. And essentially you act like you're pooping pooping without like doing the thing.
Yeah.
Like you're like, you're bearing down.
Yeah. That's the medical term.
That's the medical term. And I was just like, and no doctors told me about this. I know that because Abigail's been with me at every appointment because I am really bad at listening or like just
obviously.
And so that stuck in my head. I had AFib an episode and I was like, okay, here we go. Let's try it. And right away it kicks it. Like it stops it. So I got to thank my wife for telling me about it and Walter. So now if it does happen in a race, essentially it will be like I got a flat tire almost. Like I'll just have to, I may be able to coast and do it. I haven't tried. Okay, I have tried it and it worked. So
gotcha.
I can race with AFib.
Yeah.
And once it's gone, it usually stops for the day.
Yeah.
So.
I think all I heard in that was you need to do a better job of listening to your wife.
Yeah. Just in general, especially for my wife.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I honestly, laughing aside, I know that I can speak for everybody listening or watching. Like, we are really glad you're okay. Mm-hmm. I think for me, watching you navigate July onwards, and have success while you were trying to deal with this, and while I knew you were also trying to get help, like, it's really fun to see that you're still able to do what you do. But we do wish you like excellent health as much as possible in the coming year, because I think that's going to be huge. But that is a lot of serious talk, and we need to have some fun here where we actually can feel good about laughing, not nervously at our friend's medical condition. So we've done some of these questions before when we were sitting at Lutsen Mountain. But that was more of like an Ask Me Anything episode, so it was just like all over the place. This is specifically the list for 2026. And, of course, you have never answered the gas station question. You and I have actually gone to a gas station together in the middle of a long ride. But I want to know, what are you getting if you go into the gas station to get stuff? And we're not going to Quick Trip. You say Fountain Pop, the interview's done.
See, I want to make a argument. I think I did the Mega Mid-South, and all I had was fountain drinks that whole time through little small towns in Oklahoma. So I think there's fountain drinks everywhere. So if you don't know, if you're a poor broke college student, get the Coke out of the fountain drink. It's way cheaper. But okay, I'll go to this imaginary Elizabeth.
That's not You've been to the Elizabeth General Store. You've seen it with your eyes. You've seen the bullets for sale.
Yeah. So another broke college hack is find the cans of Coke, not the bottled Coke, because they're usually way cheaper per ounce to get the can. So I get a 12-ounce can of Coke, and then I love Nerd gummy clusters. Like, they were on sale one time at this gas station in Little Falls. It was $1 for like a big pack. It was a surplus sale. I bought 4 of them. Like, this is fuel for the next few rides.
I was gonna say, did you have them? Did you have like a hump on the back of your jersey?
I ate all of them within an hour. I think it was like 1,500 calories of Nerds. I was bonking at that time too, but yep. So Nerd Clusters, a Coke, and then if it's hot, I'm also grabbing some sort of ice cream sandwich.
Which you did. I should add, the very first gas station ride we ever went on was like the first time I met you. And you rode back from the gas station with a 6-pack of Quick Trip Glazers under, like, poking out of your back. Like, because you couldn't fit them, so you took your jersey off, you put the Glazer 6-pack on your back, and then bent over and, like, zipped it up so it was like a backpack. It looked, and then you rode the aero bars the whole way home. It looked so ridiculous. But
Glazers. If you're ever in Rushford, Minnesota, go buy a 6-pack of Glazers with your friends and then go over to the creamery and get ice cream and put it in between your donut.
What in the world? All right. Second question having to do with food is you can have what is your go-to post, like, Mammy Jammer workout ride meal? And like, we are not worried about calories. It's just like, if you've had a big banger of a ride or a race, what do you want to eat more than anything? This is like your last meal on death row. So like, what are you getting?
Man, that's a good question. My usual go-to, and this isn't just because I'm sponsored by them. It is. But Good Life Nutrition, the Endurance Recovery Chocolate Mix, is so good. You mix it before you ride and then put it in the fridge and it's like ice cold. That, and then yogurt with berries and a whole bunch of honey on top. But if it's like my post on-bound meal, it's okay, we get Mexican food. Yeah. But deep down, I want to go to Brahms and I want to get an extra large cookies and cream milkshake and like a burger, or Culver's. Like, yes, Culver's, the hack. Get the kids' meal, butter burger.
Man, you are the king of hacks at restaurants.
And then you get a free Scoopy token, and you put Oreos on your free custard that you get. And you get unlimited refills on the root beer. It's so good.
I make fun of you for this, but I actually, during the soccer season, when we would stop at Culver's with the team, the boys would always be like, why are you getting a kid's meal? And I'm like, watch this, guys. And they'd be like, oh, that's a good idea. Okay. We've covered what you listen to while you ride your bike in the Lutzen Ask Me Anything episode. But we never covered if you had one banger song, because we are legit. We are building a Spotify playlist this year.
Whoa.
That has all the guests, like, one banger song on it. It's going to be all over the place. But if you have one banger song that you're going to put on, like, it's go time, what are you turning on?
I don't actually know.
Oh, my God. This is really disappointing.
Well, you know what? I play before every single race because I think this is what I will put into the playlist because it gets the majority of people going, is Thunderstruck. It is.
Oh, my Lord. You might be answering our next question, actually.
Okay.
So my next question is, what is the most overplayed song at all gravel races?
Thunderstruck.
The Great Gathering
But it's
song.
It's not overplayed. It's played the perfect amount. It's one time. Actually, here's a story. Sorry. At Filthy 50, I put together a playlist, and I got a compliment from one of the people running the stores. Like, those were some good songs to pump them up. And it ended with they rolled out to Thunderstruck.
Well, you have to put Thunderstruck on because, as Holy Spirit, our mutual friend, says, is the Great Gathering song. And men my age in particular, in their 40s, hear it. And we just walk to the line like lambs to the slaughter. We know it's time to go. So, yes, okay. So you have been begging me to ask you the karaoke song. Because, speaking of Holy Spirit of Gravel and I, there is a rumor, of course, of a fictional karaoke night in Emporia at some sort of activation during Unbound Week. But if you were to come to this fictional event, what song are you going to sing?
Okay. It's not only singing. There's I don't want to say playing. There's a crowd working that goes along with it. And
that makes it a good karaoke song.
Yeah. The song's Tequila. So I have sang this. I've done karaoke one time, and I sang this song one time, and the crowd work is you just kind of,
There's like no singing in this song.
No, but
you say like one more tequila.
You do a little strip teasing between the tequila parts, and everyone was laughing so hard. Maybe gravel people would be like, "This is stupid." Yeah. But I think it would be super funny, and if this imaginary karaoke thing ever happens, I will come and I will sing tequila, and if people consent, I will be dancing by them.
Okay.
I know it's just running through your head right now what that could look like. So
I'm trying not to. Desperately. Okay. Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Oh, I told you I didn't know you haven't asked me this one. I've never seen Lord of the Rings, and I love Harry Potter.
Okay, and what house do you believe you would... This I did not ask you. Mm-hmm. What house do you believe you would belong to? Where would you get sorted?
Good question. Maybe Slytherin.
I was thinking that earlier. We were having some conversation.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he thinks kind of the way I do about the world.
Like, yeah, we're only covering so much in the podcast, but...
Well, we'll just say
so much of the, yeah, I think Slytherin.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. If I ever have Dillman on here, he is a Gryffindor to the maximum in all regards, and I'll fight him to the death on that one. Because I am Slytherin also. So, all right. The next question is the Wahoo question. I am supported by Wahoo. You are now newly as well. Thank you, Ian Boswell. And for the Wahoo question, what is on your primary screen when you are riding? I don't want to hear. Don't swipe. Not Tinder. I want to hear about what is your primary screen when you're riding. And if you say it's still in the box and I haven't opened it, that will not play well with Ian. So tell us what's on the screen.
Okay, my Wahoo Roam, which has definitely been opened. It's been a busy Christmas.
True.
Can't open all the presents at one time. But I opened this one.
Sure.
So on the screen, I put the map up. And then I just run heart rate and power.
That makes sense.
And I can't swipe to if I'm doing a workout, it's a little different, but most of my rides are zone 2, so it's just the map.
Well, and like I told you today, when you get to doing those workouts, you can have that as your screen as well, and it's quite helpful. So, okay, next question. Road or mountain bike pedals?
Oh, road all the way.
All right. Solo or group rides?
Oh, I like a ride with just one other person. I think that's the perfect amount.
Okay.
Because you're not again, I was telling you this, I'm very specific on how my training, I don't want to be in a group ride on the back doing nothing, but I also want to be interacting with someone and not doing swapping partners.
Sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Do you bell or do you yell when you come up upon someone who's in your way?
Is it bad that I just
you stealth them?
I just stealth them and I make that noise.
Talk about giving somebody heart problems. Golly. Okay. All right.
I yell, get off the road.
Our next, so these next two questions are with our good partner, Silka, who's sponsoring this episode and has been a longtime partner of mine. They also are a sponsor of yours. The first thing we're going to ask you is, the night before a race, what are you...
Oh boy.
What? Now, I have a story about this. Whatever you say, I have a story. What are you doing? What two things are must-dos the night before a race on your bike?
I know what you're going to talk about. Wax my chain. I would do that the night before every race, even if it's 10 p.m., I am waxing my chain, and I'm very particular how I wax it. The temperature, you have to like turn it off. There has to be just the beginning of a very thin film of wax on top, and you pull your chain out kind of slowly, and you get more wax on your chain. So then this is especially important for training chains. Like, then you get a lot more wax on your chain and it lasts longer. That's why I think when you see people who say they can ride their wax chain for 300, 400, 500 miles and they don't have the endurance chip, at least for me, it's like I can put the speed chip in from Silka and I can do this and get a lot of miles out. Like I showed you today, I haven't waxed my chain in like a month, and just so it would be,
Silka got way more out of that answer than I was expecting. I'm going to tell a really quick story.
And then I just have to.
What's your second thing?
Yeah, probably eat a bowl of cereal.
No, it has to do with your bike. What's the second thing you're doing on your bike?
Make sure. Charging the batteries. Like
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. A lot of batteries on bikes these days. An annoying amount, even though I love the equipment. Okay. So my story about you. I knew you were at Unbound in the middle of the night, like our last sleep before the race. So this is Unbound on Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like Friday night, we all go to bed. Drew and I are sleeping in the living room on a couch, and there's a little space between us, so nobody get any ideas. But I get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. And while I do so, I stumble over your crock-pot-nator from Silka, like the thing that's cooking the wax, and it's still turned on. So I like kick it and then like wet, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so like fried right now that he left the wax pot on overnight. And I was just like, this is not gonna go well. And like this is trouble. And the first thing I told Drew the next morning when I woke up, I'm like, he left the wax pot on overnight, and he was just like, oh no. So that's my story about you. Obviously, you didn't ever do that since then, but yeah, that's my funny story. My second.
Wait, can I tell him the wax hack?
Sure.
Okay, if you ride your trainer and you want infinite wax, maybe this is how I lose my Silka sponsorship. If you put like tinfoil underneath your bike to collect just the wax, you can then reuse this wax and you have an infinite cycle and you're saving the environment.
This is the behavior of an unsponsored athlete. All right. Okay. My other Silka question is, what is the most neglected maintenance on your bike, or in like maybe even on race day? And I give the example of this year when we were racing the Mahahe 100. Derek asked me around mile 30 what was in my toolkit for the day. And do you know what I said?
No.
I said, I didn't bring a toolkit with today. This is like one of the most rugged backcountry races, like most isolated places in the U.S. you can race. And he was just like, oh, well, I have one. And like, that's how I always race. When I race the hot dish, when I race Granny's, I don't have anything. I just trust that my equipment's going to do the job, which would be a terrible thing to do like out in Kansas on the Flint Hills or something. But that's just, maybe it's proof too to like, I use Silka. I work with brands that like really work well, and so I've just never had issues. But anyways, that's my neglect, is I just like don't ever bring a kit of any kind with. What's your most neglected area on the bike?
Easily my bike chain.
What?
Yeah, I say this. Okay, I wax it all the time. I do that. But
would a chain measure like slide straight through it?
Yes, so I have only used 2 chains this whole entire season. And I listened to a podcast in Matt Beers, and he's like, yeah, I went through 1 chain in 1 race. Like, I'm like, what? Like, and obviously he's way stronger than me, but yeah, I need to ask Silka for some more pre-wax chains from them. But yeah.
Fair. Okay. Tell me about a race that you've done that everybody needs to go do.
The Dam. Okay, I may be the race director of this event now, but you can go to the middle of nowhere, Kansas, ride on crap roads, spend thousands of dollars, or if you want something like, okay, let me restart. The Dam is a very unique gravel event, and that's what I think makes gravel races special is for me as an event director, I want people to be able to go back to their 9-to-5 job at the end of the day or their family and be able to tell a cool story. And what's cool about the Dam is it starts at midnight. That's pretty badass. You ride across the state of Minnesota. Like, that sounds way cooler than, yeah, I did a 200-mile race. Instead, you get to say, I rode across the state of Minnesota on gravel roads. You get to watch the sunrise, which if you're in the river valley, beautiful. If you're on top in the cornfields or farm fields, also beautiful. And then you finish, in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You get a free beer at the finish line and a hug if I'm there hugging people. Like, I don't know. I think it's the most underrated. Like, people in Minnesota know about it.
Yeah, of course.
Outside of that, like, hopefully Drew and everyone can come out, and Trey and Ben come out. But, like, I think it's such a special event.
Yeah.
And that's why I want people to come do it.
No, for sure. It is a very special event. And you and I have talked, the biggest reason I'm scared of it is sleep deprivation. And that's unique to my situation. But for people who don't have my situation, I think that it is a phenomenal race for everything you just described. So, okay. That is the race you've done that you wish everybody would do. What's the race you have not done that you have your eye on and you're like, I want to go do that?
Dang, I haven't thought about this. I feel like I've done
Do you want to go do like the Traca or anything in Europe that you haven't touched yet? Or do races like I've always been curious. I mean, we haven't talked about this, but like, are you interested in races like Badlands that are like big whomper like ultras?
Yeah, I think it has to be an ultra. Like, actually, the Tour Divide or whatever you want to call it. I think that is probably, and like now being a dad, like I know
it's off the table for a while.
A while. I think that's the event that I really want to do. It just seems like such a fun challenge. And like what Chris Melman said, like you're not sure you want to get a good result, but priority number one is just finishing.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned before, like for Derek and I, Tour Divide is something we talk about a lot, but we also talk about we have kids and we need them to we can't disappear for like a month. Yeah. And so for sure it looks awesome and epic. And so do things like Badlands. But again, like those are, Or
the 330K Rift race that is out there now called the Bit, or the route's called the Abyss. Yeah. That also looked really, really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Last one. You have not heard any of these new episodes that will have been out by the time yours comes out. But my last question that I've started asking people, and I guess a couple of people I've asked, if you've listened to Chris Melman, I am always interested in like who is inspiring you. And maybe it's your family members, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's Abigail, your spouse, or whoever, but who is inspiring you on a day-to-day basis to keep being the best version of you?
Dang, this is a new one. I haven't, I guess like the first person that, from an event director perspective, it has to be Trenton. Like I think he's Trenton, and he's just one of the most like genuine, loving people you'll ever meet, and he's created 2 legendary gravel bike events.
Yeah, he's the creator of the Dam and the Filthy 50, which you've now taken over. Yeah.
And then other people that inspire me, I'd have to say like my mom and dad.
Yeah.
Just like they were awesome parents and I want to be an awesome parent. So I really take inspiration from like them on how they raised me.
Right on, man. Well, this has been awesome. We didn't talk about it really, but you and I are working together again this year. But instead of producing like these films or this series, you and I are working together, trying to do basically every other week or twice a month, depending on how it lands. Content on YouTube. It won't be quite as like cinematically produced, but it'll still be storytelling and it'll be a little bit more in the day-to-day. And I'm really excited to be doing that and just keep working with you. And then we'll have some crossover with some other stuff where we have brand crossover as we with some other stuff I'm doing. But where can people find that content? Where can people go and subscribe to you and watch along with you?
Yeah, my YouTube channel handle I think is Chase the Biker. If you just search Chase Warker off the front, and that's where you'll be able to find the films we've put out and where we'll be putting films out. And then Instagram is Chase the Biker, and Strava is Chase Wark, lightning bolt emoji, bike reg period space, because they won't let you put a website in it, com/grannies dash gravel dash grinder, which is also where you can register for one of my gravel events. But Chase the Biker most places.
Yeah, man. This has been awesome.
Thank you. I'm excited for this year.
Yeah, it's always good to hang out.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with Chase and me today. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed this episode or if it hit a chord with you, maybe you know somebody who's dealing with AFIB and what Chase talked about is beneficial, or maybe you know somebody who's been going through some ups and downs and that's beneficial as well, or maybe you just want to remind somebody to shut off the Silka crock pot when they're done waxing their chain. This would also be a good episode to share with them. So if you want to do that, please do share it with somebody. It's the best way the podcast grows. Also, again, leave a comment on if you're into solo or group rides. I hope you are having an amazing week. I hope that wherever this finds you, you can get out today and enjoy some outside time. But most of all, I hope that you can remember that you are loved.